Hello students, I'm Ishwar, your polity mentor. We all know polity is very important for your exam, for your prelims and mains. So for your convenience, we have divided the topics into micro topics. Okay, let us take a time machine. Have you seen a time machine, right? Okay, let us jump into that and go back to 1935 of India. Okay, what is happening in India then? What was the scenario? What were the British doing? What was the Indians doing? What were they fighting for? So today's chapter is Government of India Act 1935. We will discuss why this act was passed and then what are the features in this act and what the Britishers were trying to provide for Indians. Why was this act bulkier, or why was this so big? Why was the Government of India Act so bulkier? It was bulkier because it has drawn material from four key sources. What are the four key sources? It is report of Simon Commission. You remember he has given a report in 1930, and then three roundtable conferences were held and they have given their reports. The discussions of the three roundtable conference was the second source. So this is 1, 2, and then the third was white paper of 1933. And then finally the reports of joint select committees. So these four became the Government of India Act. Let's have a look at a prelims based question. The question is, when was the division of powers was made into three categories for the first time, and it became a basis for our constitution on a later date. So the options are Act of 1858, Act of 1935, Act of 1919 and the Act of 1909. Let us understand the question. The question is asking, when was the division of powers was made into three categories? That means the power was divided into three categories, that is federal list, provincial list and concurrent list. So the power was divided into three categories. So which act has divided this? The answer is Government of India Act 1935 has divided the power into three categories and which was used in our constitution. Okay, now let's look at another question which is a prelims based question. Consider the following statements. The Government of India Act 1935 proposed a federation for the first time. Okay. And the second statement is it abolished diarchy at the central level. Third statement is there was division of powers into two lists, federal and provincial. Representatives from the princely states to legislature were elected. Okay, what does the question say? Which of the following statements are correct? So the question is we have to identify the correct statement. So the options are all of the above are correct, 1, 3, 4 are correct. 1 is correct, 1, 2, 3 is correct. Okay, let us analyze the statements. So, Government of India Act proposed federation for the first time. Is it correct? Let us say this is correct. It proposed federation for the first time and it abolished diarchy at the central level. No, this is wrong because it abolished diarchy at the provincial level, that is at the states. Diarchy at the states. Let's say this is Madras, Karnataka. Okay, and then there was division of powers into federal, provincial, and this is also wrong because it divided into three lists like federal, provincial, and concurrent. Okay, the fourth statement is representatives from princely legislature were elected. This is wrong as they were nominated by the kings. So the option is C. So only one is correct. Okay, let us come back to the topic. It is the features of the Government of India Act 1935. Okay, you can see here the Act of 1935. This is the original document, that is how it used to look, and you can see the gentlemen, the Britishers, signing it and passing the Government of India Act 1935. Okay, what did it provide? It provided for All India Federation. Federation is a union of states. It consists of provinces and princely states as units, and it divided the powers between center and provinces into three lists, that is federal, provincial, concurrent, and residuary power were given to the viceroy. So you can see here federal central government has 59 items or subjects, states or the provinces were given 54 and concurrent were given 36. Following this, in the present constitution we have union list, state list and concurrent list. What was the schedule that mentions about the list? It is 7th schedule. Okay. However, the federation never came into being because the princely states did not agree to this. Okay, the next feature is it abolished diarchy in the provinces. What is diarchy? Diarchy is rule by two. It abolished diarchy in the provinces and it gave freedom, that is provincial autonomy. What is autonomy? You have the freedom to make a decision. And these provinces were allowed to act as autonomous units of administration. Okay. Moreover, this introduced a responsible government in the provinces. And it was required, the governor was required to act on the advice of ministers. So that is how they became responsible. Okay. And it also provided for adoption of diarchy at the center. It abolished diarchy at the provinces, but it provided for diarchy at the center. Okay. What were the consequences? The federal subjects were divided into reserve subjects and transferred subjects. Okay. Okay, you can see the next feature. That is the fourth feature. Okay. You can see the next feature. That is the fourth feature. It introduced bicameralism. That is having an upper house and a lower house in 6 out of 11 provinces. Okay, what were the provinces? Bengal, Bombay, Madras, Bihar, Assam and United Provinces were made bicameral, but restrictions were placed on them. Okay. It also extended the principle of communal representation. They did not stop giving separate electorate. They have continued. They have extended it to depressed classes, women and workers. Why were the depressed classes given a communal, separate representation or a separate electorate? Because of the request of Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. Okay. And it also abolished the Council of India. What is this council? Do you remember? In the earlier lectures, in the Act of 1858, we said a Secretary of State was appointed to control the Viceroy of India, and this gentleman, the Secretary of State, was provided with a council of 15 members. Right? This council is abolished by the Government of India Act. Okay, and the Secretary of State was provided with a team of advisors. He said the council is abolished, but will provide you with advisors. Here you can see the council members. So suddenly these members became jobless. They had to prepare their resumes. Okay. The next feature is it extended franchise. That is the right to vote only to 10% of the population. Okay. 10% got a right to vote. Okay. It also established a Reserve Bank of India. So this is the symbol of Reserve Bank. This is Panther. It was established in the year 1935 through Government of India Act 1935. And the next feature is it provided for the establishment of the Federal Public Service Commission. Present day it is Union Public Service Commission, and it also provided for establishment of provincial, that is state public service commissions, and joint public service commission for 2 or more provinces. The next feature was it provided for the establishment of federal court. This federal court functioned till our independence. This was set up in 1937. The court came into being in 1937. It was established under the Act of 1935. Okay. And then what were the implications? Okay, the act was passed. And then what was the impact? What was the implications? So let us look at the implications. Okay, let us have a look at this map. All the blues are won by Indian National Congress. And these pink or orange states are princely states. So here elections were not held. In Punjab, you can see that is a Punjab regional party. In Sindh, that is a Sindh regional party. So what you can observe is Congress has won here, Congress has won here, Congress has won here. So almost 70 to 80% of seats were won by Congress. Okay, let us go back to the impact. Okay, the proposal of setting up federation did not materialize. That means the federation did not come into being. Why? The princely states were not willing to join the federation. Okay. However, some parts came into force. What were that? The Federal Bank came into existence in 1937, and then Federal Court came into existence in 1937. The Reserve Bank or the Federal Bank came into existence in 1935, and provincial autonomy came into force in 1937. And first elections, these elections were held, the first elections were held in 1937. So 1937, two things happened. One, the federal court came into existence and elections were held for the first time, with 10% of the population going for votes. Okay, now let us have a look at a mains based question. Act of 1935. Okay, let us have a look at a mains based question. The Act of 1935 provided for further constitution making in free India. Discuss. Okay, let us understand the question. Act of 1935 provided a base for what? For making a constitution in free India. Discuss. So it is saying the Constitution of India was formed on the basis of 1935. So now you have to introduce with the Act of 1935 and go to the body and conclude. So in your body, you will write about the features drawn from the 1935 Act to the present Constitution. You list them write around 5 to 7 points, and then conclude that the 1935 Act formed a basis for our Constitution. Okay, thank you for listening, and let us meet in the next class.